Hello YouTube, Jared here with another video for you. It has been 3 months since I started my 11 Armies for 11th edition challenge. As the title suggests, I am trying to build at least 11 armies for 11th edition. I started in November and now it's been November, December, and January, February. So it's been roughly 3 months because I started at the very end of November. And I wanted to kind of do a little check-in video and see where I'm at. So the challenge is to build 11 armies of at least 2,000 points. And I want to have all of these armies done by summer of next year. So into the first year of the edition so that I can really spend time and enjoy playing 11th edition with these models, in theory. Assuming and hoping that 11th edition will be a lot of fun. Now, the first and biggest challenge of this logistically is that we do not yet know the points for 11th edition, which models are going away, what's going to be good, how army building, list building will work. So I'm having to play this a little bit loose. And so most of these army lists that I'm building are built from miniatures that I'm salvaging. So I'm repainting or stripping the paint and repainting and kit bashing older armies that were kind of beat up. And then I've got the Hachette magazines and then some combat patrols. But I'm scrounging together some armies. And I don't know exactly what the end goal is going to be, but all of these armies I'm kind of overshooting by 100 or so points, just in case the lists change dramatically in the next edition. Supposedly they're not supposed to, but you never know. So just as a review, here are the stipulations, kind of the rules I've set for myself for this challenge. Goal is at least 11 armies at 2,000 points, though I'm going to probably wind up building a few armies 1,000 points. And I want to try to average $400 an army. I am not trying to go out and spend a lot of money on these armies. I want to do this cheaply, sustainably. Realistically, I can afford 1 or 2 armies a year, and then that's Hachette magazine giving me that extra discount, and then, you know, Christmas specials and army boxes and discounts where I can find them. And then the rest of it all comes into buying and trading up models. So that's been my other side hustle or side project, is I enjoy buying armies that are damaged, cleaning them up, repairing them, and then reselling them at a small profit, or trading up to models that I want. And so that's how I'm going to get to 11 armies. And so I want to give you kind of an update on where I stand on that. And so I'm trying not to do too much 3D printing. I'm trying not to do too much non-official GW, but plenty of kit bashing. And I'll probably do some third-party stuff and some third-party printing, but we'll see as we go. But the armies that I'm building can basically be broken into 3 groups. And I was going to make a bunch of slides and pictures, but I figured it'd be easier just to show you. So there are 3 groups to consider. But first, there is one other small problem. If you remember last year, I busted my finger. And so I had 2 Age of Sigmar armies to finish. My Lumineth, which are now done, and my Ogres. And I was able to find a really good deal on some more Mournfang Riders. And so I'm looking at an Ogre army that I really love, and I cannot wait to paint, but I haven't painted yet. And so on top of trying to paint all of these 40k armies, I have 1 more Age of Sigmar army left to go. And so this guy's been on my shelf. He's waiting with all of his friends. I've got about 1,500 points of Ogres that are just dying to be painted. So I've got some Kit Bash Noblars, 8 Mournfang Riders, and then the old Combat Patrol with the cannon. They're really cool. Can't wait to paint them, but that's just an additional challenge on top of the 40k stuff. So other than the Age of Sigmar problem, coming to my 40k armies, how much progress have I made in the last 3 months-ish? Well, my armies can be divided into 3 groups. The first group are these 4 armies right here. And I've got a couple of models to represent each army. If I drug everything else, it would take me days to pull everything out and organize it. So I'm trying not to do that. But a couple of models to kind of represent where I am. So the models in the armies that are almost done would be the Tau. Everything is built, primed. There's a handful of stuff to paint. I'm on the last few infantry, couple of stealth suits, couple of ghost keels, and one broadsword, and then they're done. So I wanted them done in February or January, and they're still not done. I'm behind on Tau, but the Tau are almost done. I got 50 infantry painted last month, so that wasn't nothing. And then all but 1 of them need base, so I haven't done basing yet. So that'll be a marathon project. And then they don't have magnets yet, so Tau are close. My goal for March and I'm recording this the night of the February 28th into March 1st. My goal for March is I want Tau done. I had a buddy of mine hit me up last month and say, hey, I'd love to try 40K sometime. He'd played the Space Marine video game, and he wanted to play Ultramarines, and I said, hey, I have Ultramarines and Necrons. How does that sound? He said, that sounds awesome. So I did a big game for him. It was my first time actually getting the game on the table in over a year. It was so much fun. I played a test game, and then I played against him. We had a great time. And then to prep the game, I painted about 400 more Ultramarines and 400 more Necrons. Both of those armies are now at 1,700 points and are both almost done. A few more basing things need done. To represent the Necrons, I've got one of my older models that I finished from a few years ago that's being added to the army, and then I've got my command barge. This thing needed so much kit bassing. If you look at it, you'll see there's all kinds of pieces that were missing that I've had to kind of replace or repair or do what I can, and then the logo was on upside down. I had to re-glue that, and it was a mess, but I'm trying to bring some old Necron models back to life, and then I got the Silent King as a Christmas present. So, in theory, Necrons I should be able to finish this month in March. Tau should be finished this month in March. And then the other one I want to finish, of course, is the Ultramarines. They are also almost done. I painted up Captain Titus here. Oop, don't attack me, Necron. I painted up Captain Titus. I'm really happy with how he came out. He's a really cool model. So he was a blast to paint. Painted up, kit bashed Sternguard Vet here. This was a model that needed repaired. He came out really good, and we had a great time playing together. So they really need Marnius Calgar, some bikes, some Outrider bikes, and a couple more infantry, and they'll be done. So the theme of my Ultramarine army is very much infantry heavy, light infantry. So lots of intercessors and assault intercessors. And then the Necrons have now 40 warriors, and then a double handful of just other kind of skirmishing units, lots of scarabs, lots of overlords for some reason. And then the Silent King and the command barge haven't been added yet, but don't have a monolith, don't have some of the bigger, more cool stuff. So I'm a little disappointed about that, but maybe someday I'll expand my Necron army. But these are kind of my first 4 armies. And of course, the other one is my Imperial Fists, and I've made a lot of videos, so I don't want to spend time on them. But Imperial Fists have 3 or 4 models left, the Hammerfall Bunker, and then I have the Combat Patrol box to paint, and then they'll be done. So the goal for March is 3 armies done, and then the Ultramarines, Necrons, and Tau, and then Imperial Fists are right behind it. And so we are on the home stretch of having 4 of the 11 armies done by the end of April, at least. And maybe a 5th army, we'll see. That's kind of optimistic. But I could definitely get these 4 done, and I could see that actually being possible. So let me move them over, and we'll get some other guys on the table here. And there. And just like that, we come to Group 2. Group 2 is the collected but not started group. And so this is a very eclectic group. I've shown off in some of my other videos. I've been collecting orcs. I've got a lot of old kits like this Gazgul here. I've got a box of Gretchen here. And so that pretty much represents where my orc army is right now. 1 or 2 things in box, but most of it is trade lots I've discovered. You've seen my Bad Ruck in other videos. I have a truck, I have a bomber, but the problem with the orcs is the magazines won't start arriving for the next couple months. And then I'm going to have some magazines and a bunch of kit bash stuff. And so I'll get around 2,000 points, but they are not really a started army yet. Then you come to the Eldari, Drukari, Harley Quinn, and Ynnari army, which are all kind of combined into one soup army, I guess. I painted up a bunch of these Harley Quinns early in my kill team days, back when I was starting Kill Team, before I was going to try to get into 40K. And I really liked them, but they never really seemed to have enough models to be a full army. So ironically, I got their Combat Patrol not too long ago, and that's got enough models for them to get almost 1,000 points. But I'm not going to really be able to take them to 1,000 points. But I've got all the Eldari from the magazine, and then I got a big trade lot and included 2 sprues of these guys. These are my Dire Avengers, and so I've got 2 sprues of Dire Avengers. I've got a bunch of Wrath Lord, Wrath Guard, but not a Wrath Knight. So I got 2 Wrath Lords at the end of the day, 4 squads of Wrath Guard, and 2 squads of Dire Avengers. And so I got a whole bunch of stuff but it's not really started as an army project yet. It's mostly just loose bits. So that army is probably coming in the next month or so. It's making progress. Then you got Chaos. I've showed them off. I got 700 points of built and painted Chaos. And the rest of it is magazines and trade lots as well. And so that army is also at around 2,000 points or more. And also kind of on pause for a while. And this is the army that has a whole bunch of rhinos too. So I've got 2 or 3 rhinos for that army, plus 2, at least 1, if not 2 predator tops. So that army's gonna have a bunch of tanks. But that army's starting to overflow, and we'll talk about what I'm gonna do about that soon. And then the Black Templars. I was able to get Grimaldus and Helbrick in a trade lot, and then some extra Sword Brethren or whatever they were called. And then I have both combat patrols, and then lots of upgrades, and then this Crusader Ancient is a Christmas present too. So this army is all collected but not built yet. I will say for the Christmas deals, I bought a little bit of extra models, an extra combat patrol or 2 with my trade lot money. And so my promise to myself was that I would pay myself back. And so before I build this army, I need to either pay myself back from trading and making some profit on that, or not buy any new kits for a month and then use some of that money to pay myself back for my fund money. But because I took some money out of my trade lot fund, I really owe it to myself to put a little bit more back in. And so that's my challenge to myself, is to pay myself back for that extra Christmas box. It was nice to have an extra box for Christmas, but now I kind of owe it to myself to get some back. Now, for the final group, I'm just going to grab them right here. This represents the wild cards, and wild cards they are. You see, that gives me 8 armies, but then I need 3 more, and everything else I have really goes up to about 1,000 points. And so between the magazines and my Death Leaper here and a little bit of trade lots, which gave me some extra Neurogons, I think, I have about 12 to 1,300 points of Tyranids, but it's not a full 2,000 point army. And the light's picking up again. And I like these guys, but I don't actually have a full army. And a lot of the trade deals I see are just Leviathan, Leviathan, Leviathan. It's hard to find good trade lots for Tyranids. You see a lot, but they're not all good. And then I have some Kill Team, Death Core. These are some of the very first models I ever painted, and I still love them. I've got a couple of Astra Militarum I got in a trade lot. I got about 500 points of trade Astra Militarum that are in rough shape. They need some fixing. They'll be in the magazine, but that's still barely 1,000 points, and now I got to figure out how to get 1,000 more points. I got a couple of these Voton dudes. This wasn't even a complete army. There was just 1 or 2 Voton at the bottom of a box, and so thought that was a funny thing to display here. And then these guys are in the magazine, and I think it gives me 600 points of Voton. But I don't know what to do with the Voton. I'd have to find a really good trade lot, and I've yet to find a good trade lot. And these are probably the guys who are going to be on the chopping block. Because remember, I only need 3 armies, and there's 4 here. So they're easy. Probably not going to build Voton, but I'll build the magazine just for completing the magazine. And then I really want to do Gene Stealers, like I said. There's that glare again. But I don't have very many of them. They're going to be in the magazine. And even with the Combat Patrol, I'm still barely at 1,200 points. So that army is going to be pulling teeth. Needs a trade lot. Needs something else. And so I've got a couple of these iffy maybe armies. And then I've got way too much Chaos Space Marines. And then at the end of the magazine is World Eaters. It would be really easy, I think, if I did the math. If I bought Angron, I would almost have a World Eaters army. And so I could say, all right, toss the Voton, build them to 1,000 points and be done. I hate to say toss the Gene Stealers because I like them so much, but like that's a really easy army to toss. Or say, you know what, Tyranids, maybe no to the Tyranids, or Astra Militarum, maybe no to the Astra Militarum. But between Voton, Astra Militarum, Tyranids, Gene Stealers, and World Eaters, which I don't have a representative of because that magazine's not coming for a long time, and the trade deal stuff is really badly painted and not my paint job, and I didn't want to put it on camera. That's 5 armies down to 3. The other really awkward piece here is if I get even more Space Marines in a launch box this summer from a new edition, that is another chance that I could find a way to build a 4th Space Marine chapter, but I don't really want another 4th Space Marine chapter. And so what may wind up happening is I decide to do 1,000 points of 1 army or 2 armies of Space Marines, but not do another full chapter. But that's just it. So that's where I'm looking right now. I've got 11 armies as the goal. I've got 4 armies that are pretty much almost done, 4 armies that are collected but not painted, and then for those last 3, I technically have 5 options. And I'll throw one more other curveball at you. Like I've mentioned in a previous video, I actually have around 1,000 points of Tzeentch Demons for Age of Sigmar. If I got the new starter box, or the new Battle Force box for 1,000 Suns, and painted that up, and I got 1,000 points of 1,000 Suns out of that box, and put it with my 1,000 points of Age of Sigmar Demons, I could build 1,000 Suns army, and that could be my 11th army. Don't really want to do that option, but I do kind of like some of those models, and so that's another option. There's a 6 option, but of those 6 options, let's say, I only need 3 of them to complete the challenge, and then maybe do the other 3 later if I really want to. But I have options, so let me know in the comments what you think I should build. I have those 8 locked in. Of the 6, World Eaters, 1,000 Suns, Astra Militarum, Tyranids, Voton, or Gene Stealer Cult. Which 3 should I prioritize? Which 3 should I say no to? Or should I look for something else? I saw a trade lot the other day for Adeptus Mechanicus that was a really good deal and looked really cool, and I thought about it for a second. I said, what am I doing? I've already got too many armies planned, and so you never know. If there's another army you think I should build, let me know. I mean, I'm crazy enough, I might actually do it. So we'll see how it goes. I painted over 80 models. I think I had 84 was my grand total for February. So in terms of painting, I'm doing a pretty good job. I'm on track, but it's a lot to do, but I still have over a year and a half to go on this challenge. And so I'm trying to stay strong. I'm trying to do the best I can, and I appreciate all your liking, commenting, and subscribing, and following along with me on this crazy, crazy project. So thank you again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.